We're going to do this a little bit differently in that the District 2 candidates will start, they'll have a chance to introduce themselves, and then they'll answer a question. And then we'll go to District 3, they'll introduce themselves, and then they'll have a chance to answer a question, and then we'll do the same with District 4, and that's to break it up so it doesn't get to be a chain reaction and so forth, and keeps you on your toes. And with that, I'm pleased to introduce the two candidates for County Council District 2, Bill Couch, Richard Lewandowski. So please welcome them. They have 2 minutes to introduce themselves. We'll start with Mr. Couch.
Thank you, Carl. I want to also thank the Chamber of Commerce, Cecil County Chamber of Commerce this evening, Cecil College, my wife and campaign staff, and the other candidates that are here this evening for coming out tonight. But most of all, I want to thank each and every one of you for being here this evening and taking the time out of your schedules to hear your candidates for County Council. A little bit of background for myself, lifelong Cecil County resident, graduated from Frostburg State University here in Maryland, and have spent 25 years in the same industry in business management and sales management. The reasons I got into this race for the County Council is to give something back to my community. I've done well in here in Cecil County. Your parents play a big part in that, but also your community and the environment that you grow up in plays a huge part of that, and I wanted to actually give back something to those fellow citizens that are here in the county. I also wanted to support the growth and positive momentum in Cecil County. I know it's easy to sometimes forget that we do good things. Our county's moving in the right direction, and we are growing, and I wanted to actually put my efforts and momentum behind that. In addition to that, I want to bring the leadership skills that I've developed over 25 years in business management to bear on the problems and issues that we have within the county, resolve as many of those as we can, and move the campaign forward, the county forward. Job growth, economic growth, quality of life, and obviously most importantly is to address the issues that we have with the substance abuse problems here in Cecil County. They're impacting all of those things. So I'd like to have the opportunity to address these issues and forward the growth of Cecil County for you. Thank you.
Mr. Lewandowski.
Thank you. Thank you all for coming out tonight. Obviously, taking time out of your busy schedules means that this is important to you. I look forward to hearing the questions. I want to know what's important to you. Well, guess what? That's why I'm here. It's important to me. I've been in Cecil County now for 20 years. My wife has been in Cecil County for 40 years, resident. We live in the neighborhood she grew up in. We chose Cecil County, and we chose that neighborhood to raise our 2 boys and to live our lives. A little bit about me. Majority of my last years, about 20 years, I've been in the sales and service industry. Most of it was spent in the pest control industry, commercial, residential, and agricultural. Some would say that would make me ready for politics, obviously. But with that, I found that I'm blessed in that I've always been brought to the forefront of places where there's been struggles. I've been sent to districts and branches and parts of the company. Some of the largest family-owned and operated companies in their industry have asked me to help and run those companies for them, run their business for them. I'm blessed for that. The problem with that is it takes away a lot from my family. So I spend a lot of time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, emergency service. I don't spend a lot of time with my family. 2 years ago, I was blessed to be able to start my own business. My business, we support the real estate industry. And I've been able to not only spend more time with my family, quality of life, but I've been able to see what's going on here in Cecil County. And what I hoped was the folks that were elected to help me keep some of that hard-earned money were doing the things I needed them to do, and they weren't. So what I want to do is step up and help folks in the county to work hard, live hard, be safe, and be able to hold on to their money and do the things they want in the county, and have the county be supportive of them, but have the county thrive because of them, and not thrive because of the county.
First question, Mr. Couch.
As a member of county council, what will you do to enhance economic development in Cecil County?
Well, I think the biggest part of that would be continue the programs that we have in place. We've done a great job of promoting business environment, and that's really our job in county council and county government, is to promote an environment for businesses. We don't promote business, we promote the environment that businesses can thrive in. And the county executive and the county council has set a path that has been progressive and has been aggressive, and I would like to see that continue.
Mr. Lewandowski, same question. As a member of county council, what will you do to enhance economic development in Cecil County?
Well, just like those things we'll talk about tonight, that is, we have to listen to what the speed bumps, what the road bumps are in causing folks to not be able to develop their businesses, the entrepreneurial spirit they have, working with the department, to be able to find out what businesses want to come to our county, to find out why they don't want to come to our county. We want feedback on why places want to do business here and why businesses don't want to do business here. We need to be able to talk to our people and not be a roadblock in their way. We need to make sure that we provide what they need, but not be able to take away from their entrepreneurial spirit and their rights. Thank you.
We have three candidates, Republican candidates running for County Council in District 3. Mr. Al Miller, Councilman Dan Sneckenberger, and Mr. Thomas Wilson. Starting with Mr. Miller, you have 120 seconds to introduce yourselves.
Thank you, Dr. Roberts. It's great to be here tonight, and congratulations to the Cecil County Chamber of Commerce on their 30th anniversary. I actually was president of the Chamber of Commerce 10 years ago for our 20th anniversary, and it was a great event, and congratulations to the Chamber. You do a great job. I'm Al Miller. I'm a lifetime resident of Cecil County, and I'm very passionate about the opportunity to serve this great county. I've been a member of the volunteer organization, the Cecil County Fair, for the past 40 years. I've been president for the last 10 years, working to promote 4-H, Cecil County agriculture. I have been active in 4-H my entire life, and their motto shapes my beliefs: make the best better. I believe Cecil County is better than what we ever knew. There's not much to our east or our west that's not full. This is a beautiful county. We have a beautiful farming community, and we have business opportunities, and I'm excited. We must work together to promote, maintain, and bring new businesses to our county. We must provide more job opportunities for all our residents while striving to become more business friendly. I want to thank each and every one of you for being here tonight, taking time out of your busy schedules. This is an awesome turnout. Thank you very much.
Councilman Sneckenberger.
Good evening. I am Dan Schneckenberg. I'm a resident of Fair Hill in District 3, and I want to thank the Cecil County Chamber of Commerce for this opportunity to talk to you tonight. I am married. I have one stepdaughter in college. I graduated from the University of Delaware, and I've lived in Cecil County since 1989. I moved here mainly because of our natural beauty, and I've always loved living here. I'm running for re-election to council because I can continue to believe that Cecil County has great potential, and I want to help realize this. I've been long involved in this chamber, where I've also been a past president. I previously served on a water and wastewater task force, which recommended infrastructure priorities, and I've been involved in workforce training groups for several years. I'm a fiscal conservative, and I will always pursue wise spending of your tax dollars. I'm also a big supporter of education. I know how important that is to the success of our county. I'm also well-versed in all the many issues affecting Cecil County from Annapolis, and I know our delegation well. My main issue for the past 4 years has been the focus on jobs, and I believe the top issue continues to be job creation in the county. I will continue to look for ways for County Council to facilitate an environment that helps companies locate in Cecil County and grow and support existing employers, and will use my knowledge of the region and adjoining areas to help promote the county. I've been an active participant and ex officio member of the Economic Development Commission and advised the department on many economic and job-related issues. In 3.5 years, Cecil County has added close to 1,800 jobs between new and existing companies, mainly in logistics, manufacturing, and warfighter defense at Aberdeen Proving Grounds, and close to $35 million in new tax assessment after enterprise zone credits have expired. I'm very proud of this collective achievement. Thank you all for coming out.
Mr. Wilson.
I want to thank the Chamber of Commerce for having us here tonight and having this opportunity to have the citizens understand who we are. My name is Tom Wilson. I'm running for District 3 as well. Lifelong resident, Charlestown Manor area. Went to school actually in Wilmington. My parents had a place down there on the Charlestown River, and I've always loved Cecil County. It's such a beautiful area. Married, 2 children. I've always been involved in business. I've started businesses for investors. I've done project management. One of my, probably the things that I gravitate towards the most is efficiencies. And that's one of the things I want to bring to local government is my ability to look at different agencies, different things that we face and bring about a certain amount of efficiencies. Over the years that I've been here, I've been a volunteer and I've been a reserve officer in Natural Resources Police. And I've also been a volunteer with the search and rescue community. I certainly did that for 11 years in helping people, and I've always had a heart to just kind of get out there and help people that are in need. And that's kind of what I look at when I run for office here. I want to be able to have taxpayers keep more of what they earn. I want to be able to bring efficiency to local government. And I am kind of an out-of-the-box thinker when it comes to solving problems and having answers to certain things. And I want to thank you for being here.
Mr. Miller, as a county council member, how do you balance the many requests for funding against the potential tax burden on citizens and business owners? You have 90 seconds to respond to the question.
In the Cecil County Fair, our budget is roughly $400,000, and a balanced budget is a necessary item at all times. I know people have wants and people have needs. I think there's a major difference between what's wants and needs. I think we have to be very careful to make sure that we're funding the proper things. And my view of government is number one is for safety, and that includes the Sheriff's Department, that includes the public schools. Safety is number one. And I think a good educational program is a real necessity. I think you have to work hard to make tough decisions. And I'm a firm believer that it's okay to agree to disagree. There are times where we're not going to agree what's best, but we're going to do what's best for the county. I've worked with younger people with 4-H kids, and I see them growing into young adults, and they have good decisions and good ideas. I'm a big promoter of young people also. Thank you.
Mr. Schneckenberger, same question. How will you balance the many requests for funding against the potential tax burden on citizens and business owners?
Thank you. It's always a very complicated and tough job when we have our budgets that come up every fiscal year. The wants always have to be, we have to look at them versus the needs. We have to look at the tax burden. I think County Council has done a pretty good job of looking at balancing this with the tax burden. I think last year we had very much difficulty with a big tax increase that went out to our residents, but I think you have to look at public safety, you have to look at education, and really fund those first and let everything else follow from that. I also believe that economic development is going to drive everything else that we do in county government. It helps fund everything else. As I mentioned, the last 4 years have been very good with creating new jobs and new tax base. Those are going to be able to pay for the needs and wants for all the variety of issues we have going on in the county. I'll certainly echo what has been said before. We have to make decisions that are best for the county, everybody included. So I think that's the way I always look at these decisions. They're always hard and they're always challenging, but I think at the end of the day, we strive very hard to get it right.
Mr. Wilkins, same question?
Yes, ma'am. Request for funding. We really need to kind of look at the priorities here. And something that got me into politics is basically, what are we doing for the taxpayers? We have to prioritize what we're spending on. And the request for funding, and something I bring into this is efficiencies. I want to be able to look at the different departments. I want to look at the things and the requests that are being made, and I like to try and find some efficiencies, because really, when I get elected to office, I'm going to be working for two people. It's going to be the taxpayer, and it's going to be for business. Because I was once told early on that government is a wealth absorber, and private sector is a wealth producer. And we need to be able to make sure that we have people that have money in their pockets so that they can actually make decisions for themselves to be able to support business. So it's very important for me that we get government to be lean, that we get government to be able to be very efficient in what it does. And that's something I want to do. I want to be able to fight for the taxpayer and represent them, bringing some efficiencies in and making sure that business has a good customer base.
We have two Republican candidates in District 4, Mr. Ed Larson and Councilman George Patchell. Gentlemen, starting with Mr. Larson, you have 2 minutes to introduce yourselves to the audience.
Good evening, and it echoes everyone else. Thank you for taking the time to be here. Thank you, the Chamber, for having us. My name is Ed Larson. I am a small business owner and resident of Conowingo, Liberty Grove area. While I am new to politics, I am not new to Cecil County. I moved here right out of high school in '83 and worked on for several companies, Ag Industrial, Bay Boat Works, local jobs in the area. And my love of produce and the dark-haired girl on the produce wagon led me to marry my wife of 30 plus years, Brenda Miller Larson, lifelong resident here. We've raised 7 children, and we're down to 2. One just graduated high school this year. I have one daughter home who's 15 and one that's 18 going to college. I have 2 sons who are active duty veterans. In '04, we started a commercial cleaning business. Prior to that, I traveled a good bit for General Electric, for some local companies, doing project management, due diligence, east of the Mississippi in Canada, and businesses that GE would be buying or Scotsman would be buying. So that's why I feel I'm qualified to run for council. I have a very extensive background in business management. In '04, we started this janitorial business because I was gone all the time with young children. I was up at 5, I was in Baltimore by 6, and I wasn't getting home until 8 or 8:30. I want to do what it takes to hold the line on taxes. I'd like to prioritize spending on roads, public safety, school safety, and capital construction. The council is your voice, your advocate, you, the taxpayer. It's your money, and I want to be a better steward of that. And I believe that it's time for change in Cecil County.
Mr. Councilman Patchell.
Thank you for, I'd like to thank the Chamber for holding this forum here tonight, and of course everyone out in the crowd who come out late in the evening to watch council members give their point of view and let you decide who the best candidates are to represent you. I'm George Patchell. I am a county council member in District 4. I currently reside in Perryville with my beautiful wife Lisa and my 2 small boys. I'm a lifelong resident of this county. I'm a graduate of Millersville University and have been employed at the YMCA of Cecil County for the past 22 years. I consider myself a community activist, and that means if there's something in the community where I feel like I can make a difference, I believe it's my job as a productive person to get involved and really do the best I can to make the quality of life for all that I live in or around us to just be better than what it was before I came. And nearly one stat that stuck out to me 4 years ago, and one of the reasons why I decided to run, was it was an amazing statistic that the Cecil County Public School System put out. and that is nearly 45% of the students that are in our schools are on free and reduced lunch. And then it dawned on me, what can I do to make this county a better place? To make it a better place for those folks who are less fortunate. And the first thing I thought of is we have to create jobs. Transportation is a major issue in this county. And while some of us look as a bedroom community, the fact of it is there are transportation issues for many of our citizens. And so those jobs have to be here in our own community. And so I said to myself, we must promote economic growth by having a business-friendly government. Number two, we must provide the infrastructure that's necessary for these businesses that are shovel-ready to move into our communities. Three, we must provide a well-educated workforce, and this starts with our school system. It starts with the School of Technology.
Thank you, Mr. Roger. Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't have a hook.
Sorry, I wasn't looking at you, Mario, like I promised.
Mr. Larson, are there any county services and functions that you believe are wasteful or should be eliminated or at least reduced? You have 60 seconds to respond.
No. I think we need to prioritize some of our spending. I don't know that we have any redundancies or, you know, I'm sure there's always efficiencies. I mean, if you drill down into something. Something that comes to mind is the animal control is all the way down in Chesapeake City, and we're all the way over in Conowingo. Maybe that could be more centrally located. I just think we need to focus on prioritizing where we're spending tax dollars and go from there. Not look at as things as unnecessary. I think we've got a pretty good handle on that. We just need to spend more wisely.
Mr. Paschal, I'll repeat the question. Are there any county services and functions that you believe are wasteful and should be eliminated or at least reduced? And you have 60 seconds. When he starts waving the thing, you stop.
Brave it over your head, Mario. I think one of the things that have happened over the past 2 years especially is there's been a serious look at the duplication of services within county government. Where can we cut or reduce some of these departments and consolidate them so that, one, we're more efficient, more friendly to folks who come in and need government services. But number two is to reduce some of the wasteful spending that may exist. And I believe that in the last 2 years, you see land use and development have been created instead of the planning and zoning department. There was a reduction in the housing authority. And so when you take a look at some of the things that have been done in the past few years that I've supported, it's been the consolidation of some of those departments.
Okay, moving along. The tragic misuse and abuse of legal and illegal drugs has created a devastating epidemic across our state and country. Cecil County has not been spared, as noted by statistical misuse and abuse of opioids and heroin by some of our residents. What will you do to limit or even eliminate this debilitating menace? Councilman Schneckenberger first, and you'll have 90 seconds.
Thank you. I think you're exactly correct. What we've seen at least 4 years ago when I came in was a problem that we said, oh, well, we'll be able to get past this, or it's not too bad in Cecil County, or maybe we should just ignore it because it's really not that important. And what we've had grown to get to know is that we've had to own this problem and be very, very, very active in trying to get some of the issues resolved. The one big thing that is working very well is education. And education can be such as has been done in the Cecil County Public Schools, but we want no new users in this opioid epidemic. The second piece is we have a lot of good people doing independent work in rehabilitation, so we still have to get as many of these addicts and users into treatment so they can become, again, productive members of society. And the third piece is that we really have to work on the criminal side of it, the public safety side of it, and really try to get some of these drug dealers out of our communities and break them down, and also look at our criminal justice system and really work hard to get some convictions to get some of these people off our streets. So there's a three-pronged approach. I think we're working hard at it. I don't know that the results are really showing it, but we need to keep at it, and I think ultimately we'll be successful.
Mr. Wilson, the same question for you, and would you like me to repeat it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The tragic misuse and abuse of legal and illegal drugs has created a devastating epidemic across our state and country. Cecil County has not been spared, as is noted by statistical misuse and abuse of opioids and heroin by some of our residents. What will you do to limit and even eliminate this debilitating menace?
Well, I think one of the things that was touched on here is maybe tougher prosecutions, getting a little bit tougher on that issue. We had a meeting with the Sheriff's Department earlier in this campaign, and the Sheriff is about 11 officers down from what I understand. So we really need to support law enforcement, and we need to find those efficiencies within government to be able to make sure that law enforcement gets what it needs to do this. And I think that he was talking about the persecutions and bringing some of the cases up within the state. The other thing is giving our, really, to me this is a bigger problem, because you have education that's involved in this as well, but you know, you have to be able to have opportunities. So you have the high schools, you have the colleges, but then you also have job opportunities. And we need to have a better climate within Cecil County so that these kids can have a better goal set forth. I know when I went to school, you know, we have dreams of having our own business and being successful and doing things and getting out there and really making a difference and having impact in our community. We need to make sure that our business community is very healthy to be able to have these kids go into a career in which they can be very successful and basically be able to say no to drugs and turn that down and turn it away. We need to be able to build that.
Mr. Miller, the same question. You'll have 90 seconds, and would you like me to repeat the question?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Great, thanks.
This strikes me real tough. This is not a youth problem. This is on everybody. I lost a son-in-law, and I know what it's like. He was a great athlete, but he got hanging out with the wrong people. I think this is the number one issue that we have in this county right now, that we have to work together, everyone, and I think that I can do that. I think we can work together as a team to make this work. It's not the Sheriff's Department, not only the school system, not only the county council, not only the Chamber of Commerce. We need to get everybody involved, including the faith community. The faith community has options for trying to get things opened up so children have a place to go. I applaud Northeast Middle School for starting a program after school, so middle school kids actually had something to do. Maybe they didn't have to play basketball, but maybe they could make it play chess or something like that. We have to have opportunities for kids to do, and we have to have education to educate adults, and we have to work at this. We have good people in this county. We need to work together to fight this issue. Thank you.
Mr. Patchell, do you feel that K through 12 education and higher education in Cecil County are funded at the proper level? Why or why not? You have 90 seconds to respond, sir.
Thank you. When you look at our public school system, first of all, I want to say that I believe we have a very strong public school system. When the School of Technology, the advancement that the school has made in their dropout rate over the past few years, lends me to believe that funding, while there may be some differences between the administration, the council, and the school system and the funding level, one thing is for sure, and that is I believe our students are getting an A1 education in our system today. So I don't know if it's always necessarily a dollar bill that you can put on it for whether or not you believe the funding is correct or incorrect, but I think it's a matter of the results. And I believe we're seeing those results, and I think the statistics prove that our students in this county are getting well educated, and we have a tremendous teachers throughout our school system.
Mr. Larson, the same question. Do you feel that K through 12 education and higher education in Cecil County are funded at the proper level? Why or why not? You have 90 seconds to respond, sir.
Yes, I do believe they are funded at appropriate levels based upon national standards. Some of the conversation out there is, teachers have to buy their own supplies. They're spending money out of pocket. I would challenge us to look at the budget line items, monies where they're spent. If there is a need, if there were a need in Cecil County, maybe not some of these capital improvement programs, but to turn that money back to the staff for the materials if they felt they needed them. We've had over the years pleasure to employ many Cecil County high schoolers that went to college, continue to work for us part-time through college, shining stars, athletics, and just good scholars, and you can see that they were really applying themselves. So our experience, although I am a little biased, we did homeschool all of our children. What I'm seeing and who I'm interacting with, the kids coming out of there, and a lot of them, probably a dozen in the last 15 years, great kids. So I think that we're doing the right things in the Cecil County Public Schools.
Mr. Lewandowski, what are the most important priorities that you will see are addressed to enhance new and existing business development in the next 4 years? You have 90 seconds to respond to the question.
What we need to do is get with those that are involved at the Department of Economic Development. That's what they do. That's what they're doing for us. The first and foremost thing to do is get together with those folks and see, and again, like I said before, where are we falling short? Much like me, what we need to do is our best resources are our residents. Our residents are going to tell us, what types of businesses they want in the county, and what types of businesses they want, and where we're going to plan those communities and base around there. I know a lot of folks will say, well, we don't need more minimum wage jobs or more strip malls or things like that. We're not to decide that. If you plan a proper community and the proper homes, well, they're going to want a gas station there, and they're going to want a convenience store and restaurants. So businesses are going to grow based on what the residents want, not on what we want, not on the government wants. I don't have time to talk more on that. But the fact of the matter is, what will grow organically if we allow it to grow organically, rather than trying to choose what we feel is best for the county. Thank you.
Mr. Couch, what are the most important priorities that you will see are addressed to enhance new and existing business development in the next 4 years?
One of the keys to business development and growth in the county certainly has to be the infrastructure, has to be in place to allow these businesses to come into the county, see that the services are provided, water, sewer, gas, and let them understand that this is an environment that allows them to create jobs that we're looking for them to create. As was said earlier, organically certainly is the way to do things, and that allows the tax base to grow organically. And the growth of the tax base will keep that from coming out of my pocket and your pocket, and I think we're all in favor of that. So we have to create an environment that is business friendly, as I said before. I think we've gone a long way with the streamlining of our permitting process and allowing these businesses to come in and start giving back to the community that has given them the opportunity to come here and find a void, as Mr. Miller mentioned earlier. Newcastle County, pretty full now. Harford County, probably right up there at the max. Cecil County in our designated growth corridor has an opportunity here that's fairly unique in the region, and based on the access to public transportation in general, whether it be airports, I-95 corridor, we have a lot of advantages here that will give us an opportunity to grow with those businesses and allow them to bring the jobs that we're looking for.
All right, we're gonna ask the District 3 candidates the same question we just asked District 4. So, Mr. Wilson, do you feel that K through 12 education and higher education in Cecil County are funded at the proper level? Why or why not? And you have 90 seconds to respond.
Yes, actually, I do believe they're funded at the proper level. We're currently at just over $14,000 per student. One of the things that, and same with that, I homeschooled, and I look at private schools, and I've done a lot of research in this particular area. We have a gentleman that was a business owner who ran for office down in, I think it was South Carolina, and he ran for the local school board, got rejected. So he decided to start his own school system, and he was able to actually build a school, do the education, and he's charging tuition to local students or local families about $5,500 per student. And you're looking at the educational level, it is academically very good. They are really producing kids. So I really think that, I'm going to step out a little bit of a limit here. I believe that schools, just like businesses, to get better, need competition. And I'm an advocate of school choice. So I think that we can do better. And I think the schools can, and it's nothing on the teachers. Teachers are fantastic. I have teachers in my family. They're really, really great at what they do, and we actually have kids today that have the best opportunity ever. The smartest kids that have more opportunity and more technology and more things at their fingertips to be able to utilize in their career. And I think we need to start looking at maybe different avenues or different answers.
Mr. Miller, same question. Do you feel the schools and the college are properly funded? Why or why not?
I think the schools and the college today is properly funded. I also can tell you that all three of my children went to Cecil County Public Schools. They all graduated. They all have jobs. Hooray. My daughter went to Cecil College because she wasn't ready for four-year school right away. And Cecil College is a gold mine. What a wonderful facility and what a wonderful place. The School of Technology is a passion for me. I had an opportunity to tour that, and it's an amazing facility for us, and I think we need to continue to work with that. And I'm a firm believer as a four-year graduate of college that a kid can go to high school and go to school of technology, and we have plenty of jobs. And I'm a big proponent to get the diesel operation going at the School of Technology. We have more trucks going through Cecil County, and I have a lot of tractors to sell, and I need good diesel mechanics. And I'm going to work with New Holland and John Deere and everybody else to see if we can't help fund some of those and get some machines in there for those kids to work on. Thank you.
Councilman Schneckenberger, I think you know the question.
I'm good. First off, I would say they are adequately funded. I think this is always the biggest issue, and it always comes against how much tax revenues we're bringing in the county, because the K through 12 budget is half the county's budget, so it's always going to be related. And when we have good revenues and we have a good economy, we can probably do a little more with our schools. I think we have a tremendous group of teachers in this county, in our public school system. I think they do a great job. It's one thing that I've got to know many of them over the last 4 years. I'm very proud of their achievements and the amount of work that they do to not only educate our students, but be surrogate parents along with them. I certainly will echo the county's success in the School of Technology. I used to work at that plant as a chemical engineer. It used to be called Cecil, and they moved away, and that place was dormant for too long, and suddenly the county made an investment to make it a school of technology, and I think it's been one of the best investments we've ever did. Our STEM academies in our high school are first class. As far as Cecil College, our 2+2 programs are state-of-the-art throughout the state, and I think they are one of the best community colleges in the state, and I'm thankful they're in Cecil County.
Okay, District 4, we're going to jump back to you, Mr. Larson, and this is the drug question. The tragic misuse and abuse of legal and illegal drugs has created a devastating epidemic across our state and country. Cecil County has not been spared, as is noted by statistical misuse and abuse of opioids and heroin by some of our residents. What will you do to eliminate, or I mess up every time, what will you do to limit and even eliminate this debilitating menace? And you'll have 90 seconds to answer, Mr. Larson.
If only it was as simple as one individual to be able to stop that. I wish we could. It's a very big problem. I have friends who are in Maryland State Police and other law enforcement agencies. We talk about it a lot. We've had employees apply for, or people apply for employment. We haven't been able to use them because of drug testing issues or crimes related to possession. We need to stop the flow. You got to stop it coming in, and we need to do that with help from Annapolis to enact some tougher laws with electing the correct state's attorneys, so that other than election years, we're really, bringing these guys and keeping them in the system, and the punishment fits the crime. That's the problem with so much today. The punishment doesn't fit the crime. They come in, they did something, they get a slap on the wrist, they're back out. It's tougher laws, tougher judges, tougher state's attorneys. We have some great, programs. We have the Maryland State Department of Health, Cecil County Health Department, met with them, talked about their drug programs, some of the outreach programs. We have some private and some other public entities. We also have, which nobody really wants to talk about, we have a breakdown of families.
Councilman Patchell, the same question, and you'll have 90 seconds. Would you like me to repeat the question?
No, thank you. I'll spare you.
Thank you.
Well, first of all, there's no silver bullet. And there's got to be a multi-pronged approach to this. It's, as you mentioned, this is a nationwide issue. It's not a Cecil County issue. We just happen to live across the busiest corridor in the entire country, and that's I-95. So our police force, all our law enforcement they get inundated with the amount of drugs that flow in and out of Cecil County on a daily basis. And you're not going to arrest your way out of this problem. I mean, it needs to start, as I mentioned, a multi-pronged approach with, number one, what the county executive did by joining Cecil County in a lawsuit against opioid manufacturers. Number two, there needs to be tougher laws on paying doctors who overprescribe opioids for any reason whatsoever to their patients. There needs to be better regulation on that. Three, the school system plays an important role in teaching our children the inherent difficulties you're going to have in life if you begin the use of drugs. And that program began 2 years ago in the Cecil County Public School System. So again, it's a multi-pronged approach, one that involves law enforcement, education, making sure we have strict laws on the books, and also
back to our District 3 participants. The same question regarding K-12 education and higher education.
District 2.
I'm sorry, District 2. My apologies. K-12 education and higher education in Cecil County. Do you believe they're funded at the proper level? Why or why not? Mr. Council, if you'll respond first, 90 seconds, please.
Thank you. Certainly, it's a very difficult question. We want the best for our educational systems, and it's difficult to say that, we wouldn't give them more funding if possible. But we have to look at the funding resources that we have, allocate them in the most appropriate manner possible, and then try to cover the needs of the county, both our young adults, children and young adults, but also our adult educational needs as well. Cecil County Public Schools certainly play a part in that, and we're asking them to do a lot of things. Do I think they're properly allocated? Yes. Could we always do more? It would be nice if we had the resources to do so, but we have to work with what we have. The college itself, as we mentioned, is an excellent resource and plays a huge role in the further development of the employment pool that we need here to fill these jobs that are going to come to the county. So we can't ignore the college itself. And also our public libraries have to be adequately funded as well, because they offer resources that are not found in either of the other institutions. So are they properly funded? Yes. Would we like to do more? Certainly. Thank you.
Would you like me to repeat the question?
Simple answer is yes, they are properly funded. And at that point, that's where the council leaves off. We have to depend then on the school board and school system to do the right things with the monies allocated. That's the most important part. What we have to do is support them and bring in the resources they're needed, but it's up to them at that point to make sure that the money spent is spent on, and I heard a teacher say in one of the council meetings, educating the whole student. So that may mean what needs to be done right now is not the same thing that needs to be allocated to in 5 years. So the funding is there. We just have to, as a county, be able to help them, support them, and be involved as much as we can. But really, it's on the board at that point to do the right things, and we have to we put the right folks in those places to do those right things. Thank you.
So the next question is for District 3. Mr. Schneckenberger, are there county services and functions that you believe are wasteful and should be eliminated or at least reduced?
I would say over the last 4 years, I would not say anything has to be eliminated or reduced, although I will tell you, we've made a few efforts in trying to do some consolidation. We're 6 years in a charter government, and we really haven't done a comprehensive review of personnel within county government. We still function quite a bit as a county commissioner form of government, so I think there's a large opportunity there to do some great things with our workforce. I will tell you, having been on council for 4 years, we have a lot of great employees and have got a chance to know many of them, and they work very hard. But I certainly believe that the county executive should look very much harder at its entire workforce to try to drive out efficiencies for everybody, and I think we would be a much better county government if that effort was really done well.
Mr. Wilson, same question. Are there any county services and functions that you believe are wasteful and should be eliminated or at least reduced?
From the outside looking in, as being a candidate for this, I would have to off the bat say no, because what I like to do is get into it and assess it for what it is. It's the same way I go in business. You have to actually look at what is going on. And I have done that to an extent. I've looked at the budgets and looked through things. One of the things that I would actually focus on rather than just going and cutting something is going in and looking at the efficiencies. So there are incentives to actually do better within government, because everybody pretty much knows that you get your budget, and then if you don't spend it, you don't get it. So what we may need to do is to put incentives in place that if you save money, there's an incentive for that within each of those agencies. So to start driving some of the private sector mentality into this, to be able to give an incentive to actually reduce costs for each of those departments and start bringing some of those costs down within those departments, and maybe coming up with something with that way. But really, from the outside looking in, right now I would say no. But as I get in there, I think we would really like to drive the efficiencies within each one of the departments. But then we have to
Mr. Miller, same question.
I would say that I'd like to see the county. I don't think there's any wasteful spending that I know of, but once again, I agree with Mr. Wilson, I'm a candidate, I may find out more. But I'd like to see him be more business friendly, and I'm not just talking about business friendly just because you're a business person, you should be friendly to them. And when you go into the park, and I go in for different things at different times for the fair, it's nice to have a smiling face instead of somebody just I'll be with you in just a minute. You know, that's important, and I think we need to do a little bit more as far as that goes with some of the people. And we have the same problem with some in the agriculture business too, trust me. But the efficiency is the real key. And I would like to see every organization run like the Cecil County Fair when the guys have a budget, and if they overspend their budget, they're embarrassed. They're not saying, if I don't spend it all, I won't get it next year. You have a budget, you don't go over it. If you go over it, you have to come to the board, and you better get the board's approval to get it ahead of time. Thank you.
Okay, District 2, this question is for you, and hopefully this time I'm going to nail it. We're going to start with you, Mr. Counts. The tragic misuse and abuse of legal and illegal drugs has created a devastating epidemic across our state and country. Cecil County has not been spared, as is noted by statistical misuse and abuse of opioids and heroin by some of our residents. What will you do to limit and even eliminate this debilitating menace?
You got it perfectly right. Thank you. It's obviously the most crucial topic that we're faced with in the county today. It is putting a strain on all of the resources that are taking care of this. Law enforcement is stretched to its very limits, and by the way, this week is Law Enforcement Appreciation Week, so thank you very much for all the volunteers. I've talked with people in the heroin task force. The statistics are staggering. 585 overdoses last year. 70 of those were fatal. You have children that it's become normalcy for to be in a household where drug use is not only widespread but accepted. What we have to do is take the three-prong approach, and that is education. Education has to be early, often, consistent. We have to give them alternative programs that they can work with outside of the drug world. Recovery, so there has to be adequate facilities available for the people that are truly seeking recovery and addiction, an alternate to addiction. And last and foremost, we have to have enforcement, proper enforcement by our law enforcement, and then proper adjudication and penalties which are consistent with the crimes that are being committed.
Mr. Lewandowski, the same question, and you'll have 90 seconds to respond.
All right, thank you. The question is, what can we do as a council? That's what this question is about. There's a lot of feelings and emotions that come out of this. We've all probably been affected somehow. The issue is, as a council, what we can do is we need to support our law enforcement so that it's known in Cecil County you cannot do drugs and you cannot sell drugs. Okay? We need to take a hard-nosed approach to that. What we need to do at that point is, once those folks, unfortunately, we're sending them to other places, anybody here that would be upset that they go to Newcastle County and other counties, absolutely, we don't want to see that happen, but we're worried about Cecil County. This is where I live, this is what I care about. We need to support our law enforcement, and then, as those folks that are left behind, now we can see who wants help now. You know, addicts, when they want help, let's get them the help. But let's face it, that they ebb and flow of when they want the help or when they need the help. So what we need to do is, first and foremost, take control of our county and say, you just can't do this anymore. You can't be here doing drugs or selling drugs. Now, if you want help and support, we're going to push you in the right direction and we're going to be there for you. But we can't sit and say education and all these other things. We need to clean up the streets now and bring the right people in to support those folks later. Thank you.
Councilman Patchell, what are the most important priorities that you will see are addressed to enhance new and existing business development in the next 4 years? And you have 90 seconds to answer.
Well, I think the most obvious is that we need to continue building the infrastructure that's necessary for shovel-ready businesses to move to the county. I mean, for too long, we kicked the can down the road and didn't put the necessary infrastructure in place, and then wondered why we suffered economically. So I think you need to invest in the future. You plant the seed in the spring and hope to harvest in late summer, early fall. And there's no different than infrastructure. We've done that in Bainbridge. We're building the new sewer plant in Port Deposit in hopes and prospects that you will see businesses come out of that 1,200-acre parcel. You see the black natural gas pipe coming down Route 40. Then you're going to see the sewer lines that are going to eventually be connected throughout the entire Route 40 growth corridor. These are the things that we need to do to promote economic activity in the next 4 years. We have to spend that money in order, you're going to spend $1 in infrastructure for every $2 you're going to earn from a business. So you spend the money on the infrastructure and you're going to see the return on the investment. Thank you.
Mr. Larson, same question. What priorities will address and enhance new and existing business development in the next 4 years?
We absolutely need to continue to grow the Route 40 corridor infrastructure. How we finance that, how we move forward with that is a point of contention for me. I think we should bond it out, but it absolutely has to be there. Bainbridge is a great gem. I would love to see something happen there. It was great in its heyday. I think it would be a fantastic, could be a fantastic something, which we've talked about many things over the years. As they say in real estate, location, location, location. We have a great location. Between Richmond and New York City, the megalopolis, we're dead center. Proximity to I-95, we have a rail system, Ports of Baltimore, Wilmington. We've got some great colleges and universities. We've got access to technology parks in Maryland. The state continues to build. But we should be asking businesses what they need when they come here. We should be asking them, what can we do for them as a county, not this is the way you need to do it. Maybe we offer a personal property tax waiver for small businesses under 50 employees. We do some things to get a mix of industry, technology, manufacturing, and we want small businesses. Look at the My Pillow guy, Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have one question. We're going to ask each of the panelists to answer this question. You're going to have 30 seconds to respond. And with it, I'm going to start with Mr. Patchell. Do you support recreational use of cannabis for Cecil County citizens? Why or why not? 30 seconds.
The short answer is no. One of the things I had a difficult time struggling with the use of medical marijuana, but through an educational process, learned that for municipal purposes, it could be very effective for those who are ill, but not for recreational use. I'm totally against it. I think you're going to look at statistics prove you're going to see more accidents, more fatalities, more issues with those that are using.
Same question, Mr. Lewandowski.
I would support. I feel that, we've created addicts legally through the opioid issues, right? The doctors and the big farm. This is cannabis is something that is seen as having medicinal purposes. And if folks are using it right, and we are controlling it as we do alcohol and we do tobacco, I don't think it's for us to judge what is healthy. Folks will make those decisions themselves.
Mr. Sneckenberger.
I would say no. I mean, I've talked a lot to law enforcement, public education professionals, employers. They're all pretty much against this initiative. They believe it will be damaging, make it harder to keep an educated and qualified workforce. I think these are things that are more important in Cecil County to keep our employers happy and job creation going. So at this point, I would definitely say no.
Mr. Larson?
No. Medically, I don't know enough about it to talk about it, and the question is about recreational use. Colorado had a problem, and I don't have statistics, but the law enforcement had, trouble what to judge. We know when someone's been under the influence of alcohol, we know what those limits are. When someone's under the influence of marijuana, they had a hard time judging that, what was illegal. Don't make it easier. We already have a drug issue here. We already have people that can't be employed.
Mr. Wilson?
On a personal basis, I would have to say no. And the other end of that is the support services for it. We have rehabilitation centers, and we have things that go back on the taxpayer as far as cost goes. I mean, from a constitutional standpoint, do we really have, as government, have a say in this? From that standpoint, I don't believe government actually does have a say in that. But from a personal standpoint, I have to say no because of the residual effect behind that. Recreational use.
Mr. Miller?
No, it is working. I thought it was officially dead, Dan. I would say no. I'm in the old philosophy of getting high on life, and that's what I believe in. I believe in being good citizens, and I don't believe in marijuana is a beginning drug, and I don't think we need to have that around. Marijuana is fine, but not to just any users. Thank you.
Mr. Cowles?
Short answer, no. Not for recreational use. If it has medical purposes, it'll be prescribed by the proper medical professionals. It's been recognized by our task forces as the beginning of a larger problem. The other problem is we don't have adequate testing and affordable testing to be able to determine when under the influence. Was it today? Was it yesterday? Was it a month ago? Was it 5 minutes ago? So the short answer is until we solve those problems, no.
That concludes our questions. Let's give our 7 panelists a round of applause. Job well done. Unless you've had the pleasure of sitting up here and looking into bright lights and answering questions, you don't know what fun you're missing. And with that, each of you is going to have 60 seconds to wrap up your candidacy. 60 seconds. Tell us why we should consider you. And I want to remind the audience, I know you know this, but even though county council candidates run at large, meaning in all districts, you must select one from each of the council districts. This year's election is Council District 2, Council District 3, and Council District 4. For our last 60-second summaries, we're going to start with District 4. Mr. Larson.
Well, thank you for coming out again and learning about us, about Ed Larson in particular. Cecil County is a beautiful place to live. We have a lot of history here. We have the Bay, the Susquehanna River. We have a lot of opportunities, and like it or not, Cecil County is growing up. So let's help it grow wisely. Elect the right people for these offices. I want to be your advocate. That's what got me in here. Sometimes I think our voices are not being heard. I want to be a better steward of your tax dollars. I want to do what I can to get you there. I want to utilize my business skills to help lead this county into the future. I believe it's time for change, Cecil County, and on June 26th, I'd ask you to vote for me, Ed Larson.
Mr. Patchen.
Again, I'd like to thank everyone for coming out this evening. Things for me haven't changed in the last 4 years in terms of why I ran, and that is I believe Cecil County's best days are ahead of it. In the days of wishing things got better and doing nothing about it is over with. This council and myself in particular believe that by investing in the future, we will reap the benefits. We have a beautiful community. My family's been in Cecil County for 245 years, and I want my children to live in Cecil County so I do not have to travel an hour, 2 hours away to go visit them. Cecil County.
Jump to District 2, Mr. Cowles.
10 more seconds.
Thank you. Once again, I'd like to thank the Cecil County Chamber of Commerce and my fellow candidates for coming out tonight to participate in this forum. I can't stress enough how important this type of a forum is to our electoral process. Nothing can have a higher precedent than listening to the citizens of our county. We must strive to hear their concern, answer their questions, and govern in the most responsible manner possible. This will require us to work as a team. We will not always agree. We must put aside our differences and retire our past offenses. Put our energies into serving those who have chosen us for this most important responsibility. We cannot be absorbed in our self-serving pursuits, but must take into consideration the best interests of those we serve. Government serves the people. Our citizens are now asking us to foster an environment of economic growth, address the public safety, including the epidemic of substance abuse, and to continue to develop the county's infrastructure. The citizens of the county are fortunate to have...
Thank you. Mr. Lewandowski.
All right, thank you all for coming out again. So I keep it quick and simple. Yeah, my father once said, a grown man doesn't cry and moan. He said it differently. Cry and moan about your situation. You change that situation, or you keep quiet and you live it until you can. And that's what I want to do here. I want to stand up and be part of the solutions. I want to stand up and be part of what we need in this county. I don't see me represented on council right now. I'm the person that is on that 7-Eleven or that Wawa or that Royal Farms, 7 days a week between 7 and 7:30, heading out, whether the weather is good or bad. Those are the folks that I want to represent, because those are the folks that are keeping this county going. So again, I ask for your vote, and I look forward to you guys voting. The most important part, I look forward to you voting on June 26th. Thank you.
District 3, Mr. Miller.
Thank you. I am passionate about this county and love the people in it. I've enjoyed volunteering in this county for over 40 years, and I'm excited and humbled that you allowed me this opportunity to serve you as a county councilman. We can accomplish great things together. I'm ready to put forth all my effort into this opportunity to make Cecil County the best it can be. I want to thank each and every one of you for taking the time out of your busy lives to be here tonight. I'm grateful for your kindness and support. Thank you.
Mr. Steckenberg.
Once again, I would like to thank Carl and the Cecil County Chamber of Commerce for hosting tonight's forum. I believe I have the most experience for this job, and I will work on increasing new revenue sources on the county that are not on the backs of existing taxpayers. I will always support all first responders in this county. I will work hard to improve the professionalism of county council and be an excellent representative of the people inside and outside of our county building. I will always spend tax dollars wisely and look for short-term return on investments on any capital projects that are proposed at the upcoming term. In addition to working on issues in the county council represents people, and I have helped many individuals, organizations, and businesses solve problems. I will continue to work with all our elected officials in finding creative and conservative solutions to Cecil County's challenges. I ask for your support this evening, and thanks again for coming in.
Mr. Wilson.
Yes, thank you for having us here again tonight, this opportunity for the citizens to be able to hear. I want to be the voice of the taxpayer. I mean, every time the budget is thrown into play, I felt like there was nobody there with my voice to say, my family budget needs to be considered. And I want to be able to look for those efficiencies within government. One of the questions that I would love to have answered was priority for business development. That was probably one of the strongest things that I would be able to bring to this. I'm an out-of-the-box thinker. We've already started working on some things. I made a proposal to the legislature to be able to maybe have a bill in next session, hopefully. We're not the favorite children of Annapolis. We do deal with Delaware and the disadvantage of having zero tax, sales tax compared to Cecil County. So we need to start finding ways to start getting government out of the way so that businesses can actually do better. And we need to be able to do whatever we can so that
Thank you. Once again, let's give all 7 candidates a round of applause. Great job.